is indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed, in for Dr. Rashad Ritchie, joined by the one and only, the wonderful Senator Nita Turner. Senator, I apologize for the late start. Background's looking a little awkward, okay? But it was important that we just get the show on. Blame me. Don't dare put this on the Senate, okay?
We're a team.
It has nothing to do with you.
We are a team. Blame it on both of us.
Do you see why that's a leader? Because a lot of leaders would just throw you under the bus, but that's not what you did, is it? That's not what you did. And you know you didn't have a bit to do with this. It's all me. Apologize to you who are supporting us at home. Apologize, Dr. Ritchie. I will get this figured out. But most importantly, we got to bring you the news of the day, okay, and get the senators great commentary on every single bit of it. So what do you say we jump into it? Let me update. Something else is now going haywire in the document, but it's there. Okay. I thank you for your patience, Senator, because things are just disappearing all over the place. Okay. No. Where are you? May I ask where you are?
Yes, I am in DC. I'll be doing a watch party tonight. So for any of our viewers in the DC area, come join me at Bus Boys and Poets, the 450 K Street location, because there are many Bus Boys and Poets. And I'm gonna tell you something, Bus Boys and Poets is out of sight. So if you've never been, please come 450 K Street. And that watch party starts promptly at 9 p.m. Let's bring out the popcorn. We know that the debate between the two challengers, Donald J. Trump on one side and Biden on the other. So come on down and watch us tonight.
Yeah, I want to know about drug testing and all of it. Let's get right into it, Senator. CNN, you've frequented the airwaves, excludes Black media outlets from the 2024 presidential debate. Now, you know I have to know what's going on with this one. For Atlanta Black Star and News One, CNN granted media credentials to tonight's presidential debate to about 600 national and international outlets. But surely this is an oversight. None of them are Black-owned. This information comes from a source close to the credentialing process. Somebody's blown the whistle on this, Senator. And I need to know more. Okay, we got to keep it real. Despite hosting the debate within 3 miles of Black-owned and Black-led media outlets in Atlanta, CNN did not extend invitation to the event to any locally based publications. Thursday's debate will take place at CNN Studios in Midtown Atlanta. It's within jogging distance of the offices of my friends at the Atlanta Voice and our friends at Atlanta Black Star, two Black publications based in the same city. However, neither publication received a press release or any other communication regarding media access for the debate that could help determine the outcome of this year's presidential election. And a Black Star doing the reporting, that is, they are subject of this reporting too. So, Atlanta Voice editor-in-chief Donnell Suggs said in a phone interview, "It was disrespectful. I thought it was very tacky not to invite the Black newspaper. I thought that was just cheap and typical of CNN." Suggs finds it impertinent that CNN did not consider Atlanta Voice for an invite or send any correspondence about the event to the Black publication, stating, "CNN never reached out to me and said, hey, June 7, you guys better have this thing in. Had they told me that, we would have done that, right? So right, it's messed up." According to an email from CNN, there was a June 7 deadline for members of the media to request credentials to attend and cover the event. But Atlanta Voice and Atlanta Black Star were unaware of the deadline until editors from both publications individually reached out to a CNN rep in the past week who stated that the mainstream media outlet is unable to accommodate any additional credential requests past the deadline. A scan of Atlanta Black Star's email boxes showed 0 emails from CNN or a representative regarding the debate. Follow-up email to Dylan Geerlings of CNN seeking clarification of the deadline and how Atlanta Black Star would be aware of it. Not answered. Editors from Ebony telling Atlanta Black Star they also sent a request but never received a response. This is getting worse. Representatives from Joe Biden's campaign have also lobbied for Black publications to attend. Given the impact of Black voters in the election, barriers that Black publications face, Black-owned media outlets struggle with significantly lower financial resources than mainstream media, leading to staffing, other disparities, constraining those platforms' growth, visibility. CNN has now offered to add Atlanta Blacks or Atlanta Boys to its distribution list for transcripts and photos from the debate. My blood pressure is going up, and I'm going to get to you, Senator. There's about 5 things that are sending me over the edge, but I'm going to keep going. Almost there. Biden campaign will host a press briefing for Black publications ahead of the debate on Thursday. News One noted that journalist Roland Martin on Wednesday first brought attention to the issue by posting on social media that CNN has not issued any credentials for tomorrow night's debate to any Black-owned media outlets. He specifically asked Emily Kuhn, CNN's senior vice president of public relations, why every Black newspaper in Atlanta was denied credentials, calling it both despicable and pathetic. Hey, can you explain to me why CNN has not issued any credentials for tomorrow night's debate to any Black-owned media outlets? I say it's a good question, Mr. Martin. It's a damn good question. Congressional, Senator, you're really going to have to talk me off the ledge on this one, but I'm going to keep going. We're almost there. And then I need you to just take the wheel. You need to take the wheel on this one. Congressional Black Caucus Chairman Rep. Gregory Meeks released a statement Wednesday afternoon condemning CNN, demanding they immediately approve credentials for at least 10 Black-owned publications, calling the move an egregious oversight, totally unacceptable. Meeks urged CNN to immediately credential at least 10 Black-owned media outlets for tomorrow's debate. Now, he called the current exclusion a deliberate offense to Black Americans. He emphasized the critical role of Black-owned media, providing trusted information, their importance in democracy. It's sad, you got to remind people of this. On Friday, the National Association of Black Journalists appealed to CNN to make an exception in this case. No matter the reason, the local Black press was not approved. Thank you. In regard to guidelines, we are asking CNN to create space to ensure fair and balanced coverage so that all citizens have access to real-time content from the debate. That statement from NABJ. Eric Ward, Executive Vice President of Race Forward, warned in a News One op-ed that the lack of Black media representatives erodes Black communities' trust in mainstream media. He noted Black America has less access to journalism that represents their concerns, making them more vulnerable to online disinformation and misinformation. Well said. The reports about CNN refusing to credential Black media at the presidential debate come months after the Pew Research Center found nearly 25% of Black Americans said they get their news from Black media in particular. These outlets, which have a long history in the United States, are defined as those created by Black people and focused on providing news and information specifically to Black audiences. Another 40% of Black adults say they sometimes get news from such outlets. Senator, when I first started chronicling the details on this one, I was planning on coming to you by saying it's an oversight, but you got to make it right. Now I moonwalk back from that. That's not where I'm at, Senator. And I think you know where I'm at. As an organization, I don't care what the deadline is. I wouldn't let this stand. We're supposed to be fair. We're supposed to have an interest in significant coverage. This is why you and I have talked about the need, the void. Commend Roland Martin, others for stepping in. I don't know what the rules are. Perhaps you do. You've been a candidate. You've won political office. You stood alongside Senator Bernie Sanders, who's been in these debates. I don't know if CNN can waive the deadline, but I hear CNN. I have not heard the debate commission involved in this. So I assume that CNN can say, wait, we're going to make this right. Make it make sense, please, Senator.
Oh my God, Sharon, I cannot, and I share your outrage. For full disclosure to our viewers, at once upon a time, I did work for CNN as a political commentator. I don't work there anymore, but I'm often called upon for my political views, especially those representing the progressive side of the Democratic ledger. Put that out there. I am stunned, and big ups to Brother Roland Martin for bringing this to the light. And I'm glad that others are speaking up and speaking out. I agree with you, Sharon Reed. I don't understand now that they do know I don't know whose fault this is, but the people at the tip top of CNN, they have the power and the authority to make this right. It's not enough to say to Black media, oh, we'll get you pictures and transcripts after the fact. If the power is totally in their hands, half in their hands, any percentage in their hands, they should make this right by sending invitations and making space for Black media outlet, especially those in Atlanta. I mean, how you go to Atlanta and do not invite Black media? I got to quote Brother Andrew Yang here, Sharon. The math ain't math in here. I think you laid out that it was reported at 600 media outlets, both national and international. So let me get this straight. You can invite people who are not even in the United States of America, but the good old fashioned homegrown Black folks who run media outlets did not get an invitation. Again, mistake made. We don't know who made it. We don't know why it was made. I'm not trying to attribute malice to this, even though it's getting harder and harder not to. However, there is a way to fix this, and CNN should fix it. Furthermore, I think both presidential candidates, I'm glad to see that President Biden's campaign reached out and said, hey, do something about it. President Trump's campaign should do the same if they haven't. But going back to the Biden campaign, Sharon, I believe that they should say, you know what? If you don't make this right, we just not gonna do it. This gone. Carrot in the stick. Do that. Since they on the Black vote, they just gonna do that.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get it right. Ja, oui, si. The first was German for yes. Okay. French, yes. And in Espanol, si, yes. Okay, you're right. And I don't want to hear, well, they should have reached out for that. You have been given the privilege of this debate. It's not yours. You're the conduit. By the way, CNN doesn't own the airwaves, and they're just spreading it around to the networks. This is CNN's turn, and this cannot stand. It cannot stand. I think I too will take the high road. And I actually believe what you said. We can't even attribute this. I attribute it to tone deafness and a little bit of ignorance with whoever got the email and doesn't understand, didn't say, whoa, we got to fix this. Hey, boss. Hey, somebody. Instead they said, pass the deadline. So there's a tone deafness, a daftness, and perhaps a lack of diversity issue behind the scenes. People say, oh, there's Black people working at CNN. I didn't ask you for the number and the count. Are they empowered? Are they in charge? Are they meeting parts of the discussion? That's diversity too. This is something that is just, this cannot stand. And you're right. I saw an ignorant clip on social media where Donald Trump called into, he didn't even go get a fade. He called into this barbershop with Byron. With Byron, I can't, okay? You should have stayed off Joy Reid show too. You just should have stayed off that after you made your comments about Jim Crow era. But he was in the center with some Black people. I'll avoid the T word surrounding him, and Donald Trump talking about how, once again, the mugshot, Blacks, Hispanics, they love me. Well, you're ignorant, sir. But I think the senator's right, not just the Biden campaign, but you too. And I was going there with, I would refuse. The only thing that stopped me was Donald Trump would just love that. He would just love that. But CNN, you better make it right. I'll give you the last word, Tim.
Absolutely, Sharon. And I mean, you gotta, they have the power, like both campaigns have the power to say to CNN, this is not right, make it right immediately, or we're just gonna call this thing out. We'll just go in the streets and have a debate. They could actually do that. That is how you leverage real power. And your point about however it happened. And yes, you have to have Black people in real positions of power where they don't have to cower and they don't have to be afraid, because you need people to bring different viewpoints. So is this today? What will it be tomorrow? And diversity is not just phenotype diversity. We also need diversity of experience. Is there anybody in there that has requisite experience as well? My last point to your point, Sharon, about, okay, I want to give CNN the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I mean, I have colleagues there who had they didn't make these decisions. My colleagues are not the higher ups. My colleagues are the people in the, the anchor type. But this point, one of my mentors once said, Fannie M. Lewis, and I know you know exactly who she is, Sharon Reed. She's in the ancestral plane. But she used to say, Councilwoman, she used to say, it doesn't matter whether you killed me by accident or on purpose. Dead is dead.
Dead is dead.
And the fact that we got to beg the people who make these decisions at CNN to see not only the error of their ways, but to seek to correct it. That's the part that's very troubling to me, Sharon Reed.
And you're right, because you know and I know, I do have an issue with, second set of eyes, a third in these news organizations there for a reason, right? So that it's the last line of defense to the viewer. I always took that very seriously in my role. I'm the last line of defense to the viewer. But people can make mistakes. They're only human, right? But it's the response to it. That's what you said, Miss Lewis said. I'm still dead. I'm still dead. Okay, there's slow singing and flower bringing. I'm gone. It's the response. You didn't see how serious this is. Roland had to get to crowing. Other people, Atlanta Black Star, Atlanta Voice, who is one of the most storied, the history of this publication. I've done some good work for them. They're not second-class citizens. I'm appalled. I'm going to call my friend Hiram Jackson over at Real Times Media, who has the rights to almost all of the Black papers in the country. Did you get a credential? He would have told me. This is not okay. You don't respect this and pretend. You have to respect this. This is why we need Black media. And don't you dare ask Black people why. This is why. This is why, Senator. I'm just appalled. We're going to revisit this. Better make it right. By the time you hit the airwaves to give your expert commentary for this debate, okay, and you still don't know if anybody was getting drug tests, which is crazy. Did anybody get a Diet Coke test? There's somebody, which one of the candidates was drinking 12 a day. But by the time this thing goes on, it better be corrected. It better be corrected. Kudos for everybody who spoke up. CNN needs to try to woo you back and get you to consult on some of the decisions. They got to ask you some questions here that would seem obvious, but they need you.
Yeah.
Mr. President, let's talk about our friend AOC calling out AIPAC, dark money for Jamaal Bowman's loss. Here is what Congresswoman had to say following that New York primary election.
We should all be extremely concerned about the role of big money, about the role of massive organizations that can just pour a historic amount, $20 million, the most ever spent in American history, in difficult to trace and difficult to trace funds in order to have influence in our elections. At the end of the day, I do know that House leadership, they issued their endorsement, but this is not about the president. To me, this is not about leadership. What it should be is about all of us trying to actually have a conversation about the role of AIPAC, but also the role of large money and dark money in Democratic primaries, especially when they are funded by Republicans. And that's what we saw. That $20 million was primarily from sources, Republican sources, intended to sow division in the Democratic Party. And we actually do need to have a conversation about that.
Yeah, okay. What she said. And I'm glad that I'm back with you today, Senator, because this next detail in the reporting, I had my suspicions. It's bad enough when you're being targeted by dark money, conservative money. But I've been wondering about the lack of, or I suspect it to be the lack of support from the Democratic Party. People getting on your nerves too much that you could care less if they stay or go. Maybe you want them out. I'll give it to you. Speaking of party leadership, according to Politico, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is not all that upset about Jamaal Bowman's loss. This despite Jeffries endorsing Bowman, even donating to his campaign. Though critics feel he otherwise phoned in his support. Do you see what I mean? Do you allow for dissenting voices? Do you allow for rigorous and vigorous debate? I think that's where the best policies come from. That's good leadership. I wanted people to tell me what was up, the truth in everything I do. Just tell me the truth. The results speak for themselves. The voters have spoken, Jeffrey said plainly Wednesday morning after Bowman's brutal loss. Oh my goodness. We accept those results across the board, across the country. Despite Jeffrey's Bowman endorsement, as party leader, he's obligated to support all incumbents in primaries. Moderate George Latimer's blowout victory was actually more in line with Jeffrey's posture than the ideological rift currently roiling New York Democratic politics, Politico, with the reporting. It is what it is. That's how I read that statement. It is what it is. Come on. Minority speaker. Many of Bowman's liberal allies say Jeffrey should have done more to protect his colleague. Jamaal Bowman was an incumbent. Hakeem Jeffries is the leader of the Democratic caucus. Doesn't that mean the whole caucus? So this is a loss for us and a loss for him. Osama Andrabi of Justice Democrat said in an interview, I think as the Democratic Party, we should be pretty aligned on what we want to see in our democracy. And I don't think breaking records on super PAC spending in the primary is that, he added. Other Bowman allies called on Jeffries to disengage from AIPAC. We write today with dire concerns about what your continued association with AIPAC means for the future of the Democratic Party, the future of our multiracial democracy, and the future of our planet. Coalition of 14 left-leaning and hard left groups, including NYPD, a Democratic Socialist organization, wrote in a letter to Jeffries. AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, spent at least $14.5 million on anti-Bowman ads through its affiliated PAC, United Democracy Project, as of June 20, per FEC filings. Some estimates have praised AIPAC's total spending in this race was closer to $20 million. Vladimir has stood strongly with Israel, even as the foreign countries estimated to have killed at least 37,600 Palestinians in Gaza since October. Jezebel with the reporting addition there. This is unprecedented amount of money, even in an American political system so deeply entrenched in a dark money and corporate greed that U.S. election spending exceeds the entire GDP of several countries. But it gets scarier. AIPAC presents a single issue and has described its Democratic candidates as strong pro-Israel voices who are also leaders in the Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Progressive caucuses. It's a dark money group. That's what it is. With deep ties to far-right Trump donors and anti-abortion extremists, and all Democrats who accept its money are by extension indelibly tied to these right-wing forces during a pivotal election year, when the party will be running hard on abortion rights. AIPAC has endorsed over 200 anti-abortion Republicans this cycle alone, including dozens that voted for or even co-authored extreme anti-abortion legislation like the Life at Conception Act to establish fetal personhood. Women will be subjected to more dying. AIPAC isn't done yet. Representative Cori Bush's primary slated for August 6th. They're gearing up. Her challenger, Wesley Bell, has already received $2 million from AIPAC. Bush was one of the first members of Congress to call for a ceasefire. She was also the first member to call for the repeal of the Comstock Act, which anti-abortion activists hope a Republican president will use to ban abortion. On top of that, she's one of few House members who shared her personal abortion story. Bush is now in the middle of a competitive primary challenged by a moderate pro-Israel Democrat, accepting scores of funding from anti-abortion donors, including AIPAC. Do you see what they're doing? Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, said, we got to respect voters, the will of the people. We're not talking about voters. We're talking about dark money, infecting the process, disenfranchising people. There's no other way around it. I really see it as that, Senator, and I'm disappointed in the Democratic Party the leadership. I'd rather Representative Jeffrey say nothing than that hollow, really trolling statement I found it to be. What say you?
Oh my God, Sharon, you hit the nail on the head. And I do want our viewers to understand this. All of us, I want us to put aside policy disagreements. And this is serious here because I went through what Congressman Jamaal Bowman went through, what he had the benefit of incumbency. And in these parties, they uphold incumbency above all else. So why was that rule not followed when it came to Congressman Jamaal Bowman? I'm gonna tell you why, but let me put that in the parking lot. I understand where he is coming from. In the Ohio 11th district, I ran in a special election in 21 and a regular election cycle in 2020 and 22. These same groups came after me with a vengeance. So when you have dark money groups, be they AIPAC, the NRA, big pharma, big oil, name it, all of us, I want to center this, all of us that believe in a representative democracy model, which we hold up in the United States of America, whether you on the right, the middle, or the left, we have got to come together and say, this is not how democracy is supposed to work. As a matter of fact, it erodes democracy because what it means is that those who are highly connected and have a lot of money can in fact buy elections. That's number one. Number two, for those who have a problem with people like me and other groups coming out to say clearly that AIPAC purchased this election, of the $20 million that was spent against Congressman Jamaal Bowman, 14 million of it came from AIPAC. AIPAC's goal is clearly Israel is number one for it. It was mad that Congressman Jamaal Bowman, along with some other squad members, were very clear. Let me lift up Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who is Palestinian. All they called for, Sharon Reed, is a permanent ceasefire and a way towards peace. And this gets Congressman Jamaal Bowman this onslaught of money. Now, had it been the NRA spending the majority of that money, I would say the same thing about the NRA. So understand that for you folks. If it had been Big Pharma that spent 14 million, I would be decrying Big Pharma. What I am saying is that big, dark money, period. And the fact that the Supreme Court of the United States of America and Citizens United said that money is speech, we've gone awry. Now, although Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez said, the right things in terms of we got to have this discussion, is not on. Let me add some things. I'm not saying that I disagree with her, but I want to take this further. You know why leadership of the Democratic Party can't speak on it? Because most of them take that money. 80% of the Congressional Black Caucus takes money from AIPAC. AIPAC just did a commercial basically saying, hey, we donate more to the Congressional Black Caucus, the Asian Caucus, the Progressive Caucus. We got them all. And you ain't got to trust Sister Senator Turner. Go look at their ad. They put it out. They put that ad out. Now, in my district, the money that was spent against me was the greatest amount of money ever spent, dark money spent in the Ohio 11th. It was almost $7 million. So do you guys see the pattern here? It is wrong and we must call it out. Now, Hakeem Jeffries needs to have several seats. The Congressional Black Caucus didn't come to Congressman Jamaal Bowman's aid. The President of the United States did not, but he dipped himself in my race though to support my opponent. I'm gonna go and put that in the parking lot. It is something wrong in this country for those of us that believe that everyday people should have voice and not be bombarded with commercials and ads and flyers that then dilute the voices of the people. You don't even know what to believe anymore. That is what happened, Sharon Reed. They came after this man with a vengeance, and disproportionately AIPAC targets Black elected officials and other elected officials of color because those elected officials are more likely to stand up on the side of justice. This man was a middle school principal. He's a working class guy. Pretty soon we're not gonna have any working class voices in that Congress. This is gonna go back to the original founding of this country, which is all white men get to control, big money interests gets to control, and those who are highly connected get to control. If people don't see this and understand this, I don't know what to tell you. But whether it's
it is eye-opening. I heard about dark money, Senator. I hear bits and pieces, but when you break it down like that, I'm sorry. you pulled into the lot, but I need to start the hybrid. And if you don't mind, I got to pull it back out of this parking lot, because what you said about the president of the United States dipping in on your race, and what I hear in the statement from Hakeem Jeffries, you tell me if it's going too far. I feel like it's not just complacency or apathy. You're liking this. Your own people are liking that. I need you to sit down and shut up, because you're interfering with what we're doing here in the old guard. That's the way it looks to me. I'm not in this thing. I'm just a single mom who is going to cast a ballot. And I do not feel heard. I feel disenfranchised by all of these ducats being spent against citizens who just stepped in. And look what he's faced since he's been in there. This is not an easy job. You're not getting paid enough for this kind of grief. But he did it.
Oh my God. And this man, he stands up for Medicare for all. He stands up for injustice, period. And that's all and then the Democratic Party, my party, I'm a member of the DNC. I want people to understand this. This chick by the name of Liz Smith, I want people to go on social media. She put up a tweet with a picture of the Charlottesville white men who claim themselves to be neo-Nazis. And she put up the following: we kicked out Jamaal Bowman. Now, this is a Democrat. With Democrats like this, you don't need no Republicans. We kicked out Jamaal Bowman. The GOP is nominating Donald Trump. And I want the viewers to go and watch it. She has pictures of the white men who were carrying tiki torches in Charlottesville. How dare you? And then a lady by the name of Rachel quote tweeted on top of it, because I want people to understand. See, anti-blackness is okay in the United States of America. Black lives don't matter, black pain don't matter, black leadership doesn't matter, and the Republicans do not have a monopoly on bigotry and anti-blackness, because if Liz Smith or anybody else, they were celebrating Sharon Reed the next day. His race was on Tuesday. The next day, mega Republicans and neoliberal Democrats were celebrating that this man lost. But thank you. Shout out Rachel. I don't know Rachel's last name, but she quote tweeted over Liz Smith's tweet, who works, by the way. She was in the upper echelons of Pete Buttigieg's campaign. I want y'all to note that. But Rachel quote tweeted on top of it. She said, official DNC spokesperson here comparing Jamaal Bowman, a black man, to the Nazis from Charlottesville. A glance at how Democrats truly feel about black people. Now I can go on and on and on. This is not about policy positions here. At a certain point, we have got to say, if we want to preserve any modicum of democracy, if we want to make sure that Big Mama and Big Papa have voice, no matter where they hail from, no matter their zip code, we have got to say that this is not the way to do it. But Sharon, again, the reason why the Democrats are not saying much of anything, as a matter of fact, skipping to the loo and celebrating and high-fiving and comparing Congressman Jamaal Bowman to neo-Nazis, is because they take that money. That's why. They cannot. And I am absolutely outraged by it. And I ain't gonna sit back and be cool, calm, and collected about it. The man did nothing but just say, permanent ceasefire, let's save some folks. You got over 40,000 Palestinians dead. More than half of them are women and children. I don't even know if we qualify that. But see, we think that when we say women and children, it's gonna tug at some people's hearts. Well, some people don't care whether it's women or children because they Palestinian. But they done killed over 40,000 Palestinians. The people are living in famine right now. We got famine in the Congo and Sudan, Haiti, Yemen, all over the world. People are suffering. And you got callous people like Hakeem Jeffries. And then where was the Congressional Black Caucus? Nowhere to be found. I lost a member. Where was the Congressional Progressive Caucus? Nowhere to be found. So I disagree with Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez on the point that leadership didn't do enough. They celebrated and laid in wait for Congressman Bowman to be defeated. And what defeated him, because if they weren't afraid of him and his power and his influence and what he was standing up for and his courage, you ain't got to spend $20 million against somebody you ain't afraid of.
His integrity. He knew that this was coming, and he still spoke his truth.
He
knew it. I wanted you to tell me I had gone too far. I wanted you to tell me, no. Sharon, no, that this is how it is. You're you're wrong. Here's the inner workings. But she couldn't and didn't do that. And I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted.
Everybody, I want everybody to be disgusted by this.
Yeah,
Again, this ain't about your political ideology. This is about right and wrong. And people can't think. You know, Sharon, I know we got to go to break, but I was talking to a colleague of mine who we were just reminiscing about what happened in my race because I got post-traumatic stress disorder. I want people to know that this same group came after Senator Bernard Sanders, who is Jewish, whose father's family perished in the Holocaust. They came after him after he had his heart attack. I want y'all to understand that. They came after Congressman Levin in Michigan too, upseated that man. He was a rabbi of sort, at one point in time in his life. They came after him as well. So we have got to understand what is happening here. So it's AIPAC, Big Pharma, NRA, because I don't want folks saying, oh, you just picking on AIPAC. Oh no, as I said, if it had been Big Pharma that spent that kind of money, I'd be talking about them too. If it was NRA that spent that kind of money, I talk about them too. But in the collective world of lobbyists and who has controlled our far too many elected officials are captured. And they are going to come after Congresswoman Cori Bush next. She next on the list. Sharon, I saw all kinds of trifling tweets. Tweets like, oh, one down, one more to go. We got Bowman. We on our way to get Cori Bush. And I will underline message in a bottle. I will not be cool, calm, and collected on this. The anti-blackness attached to this is so loud. And we need
the money is violent. The money at this point in politics is violent. It's a violent assault on all of us. But the target today is Black progressives who called for humanity, who called for the killing to stop. They didn't say anything else except, please stop this. And for that, violent money attacked him. This is indisputable alongside the passionate, the wonderful, our treasured Senator Nina Turner. In for Dr. Ritchie today, much more to come.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning.
You have the Young Turks and a bunch of other progressive forces saying this is the time to fight for our values.
And I think right now there are a lot of progressive voters, many leftists who feel like they don't have a home.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
What we've done is sustainable, slow, healthy growth. And I think that's the way news should be, where you don't rely on sensationalist stuff. You don't lean on whatever's trendy in the news at any given moment. You just go with the truth.
You gave me a platform.
You've uplifted so many other progressive voices through this network, and you're constantly looking for people that you can amplify through the work we do, through the infrastructure that you built at TYT.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
We're super serious about the news. We also managed to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We're not TYT, you're TYT.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
Favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Cenk and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
Sharon Reed alongside Senator Nina Turner, honored to be alongside the senator today, in for Dr. Ritchie on this indisputable broadcast. I remember growing up, we had this neighbor, Angie. I loved her, she's great. But she would lay out on a piece of tinfoil in the summer months. And I remember thinking, Mommy, Angie's as red as a lobster. Lovely woman, red as a lobster, though. I worried about her overall skin health. Okay. It was, it was bad. Wouldn't that hurt? And then she'd come out the next day with noxema on her nose. This next one reminds me of that. At least Angie was in her own yard, though. You know what time it is. They're going to do what they're going to do wherever they are. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. Мне полицию вызвать?
Ну какая вызови, я тебе сейчас ебу нахуй, что было, за что вызывать нахуй. Да вы иди сюда, сука, блядь.
Не трогай меня.
Иди сюда, сука, нахуй.
Well, I was doing this not because I really didn't want to see a close up, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to miss a single moment of it because I thought, what are you doing? I see playground equipment. This isn't his yard. This is a community playground here. This man, Russian descent, this male Karen, sunbathing. You saw the mother approach, looked like she had on a little tennis skirt and had, I don't know, a little lunch pail with some kind of decoration on it, probably a sippy cup in there, and trying to say, what are you doing here? Senator, why does this man with the tiny trunks on not understand there's a time and place? Is it the place, Senator? You can't excuse this, can you? And I know you want people to do what they want to do, but you're not about to excuse this, are you?
Not at all. And he got the nerve to be mad. This is a grandma moment. More nerve than brass a monkey. The mama was right. Dude, what you doing here? Do you have a yard? Can you go somewhere where only adults are? You just laying your body out there. It wasn't totally naked, but it was almost naked, and just no respect for children. Just selfish, Sharon Reed. Just totally just selfish. Hell, he the toddler. Cause you didn't think about it before you did it.
No, and violent. She just asking a question. And normally I want people to mind their business, but we can't ignore it's the saying, the elephant in the room, can we? We have to deal with this. And looked like he didn't have a bit of sunscreen on out there, just getting all the rays. It was alarming. I hope that the kids were back with another adult while she tried to remedy this. Surely we can't. The kids can't just play around. This is the point, correct?
Correct. I just hope they're not traumatized for life. I mean, and the man need to seek some help, because any grown man that thinks it's okay to sunbathe on a kid's playground, I got 2 words: seek help.
Thank you. For the record, again, Angie, my neighbor, lovely woman, she'd bring us cookies, couldn't bake worth a damn, but she was a nice lady in her own yard. That's not what this one is. You're a male Karen, and you need to get it all the way together. We'll move on to this one. A cop accidentally shoots a 5-year-old while chasing a car theft suspect. We got to ask, is it worth it? Further root, an Atlanta family has retained civil rights representation and possible legal action against Douglas County Sheriff's deputy. The reason? They claim instead of aiming for a carjacking suspect, the officer shot a 5-year-old girl. Mother posted to her Instagram stories the image of a bullet hole through her vehicle's rear window with the caption, "They shot my baby." There you see it. Per WSB TV, the mother says she's thankful her child is alive after the young girl was shot in the arm at the BP gas station on Fulton Industrial Boulevard Sunday night. Deputy had been involved in a 2-county police chase. Life versus property. Life versus property. Details of the pursuit: June 23rd, the Dallas Police Department attempted to put 25-year-old Rashani Mike Palmer into custody per the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Officers sought him on charges of aggravated assault, kidnapping in connection to an incident that occurred that evening. However, after officers put him in cuffs and placed him in the back of the patrol car, GBI says he found a way to escape the vehicle and took off on foot the route. That's needing an investigation, a transparent one. You said you put him in handcuffs and in a patrol car, and yet 2 counties later. Palmer managed to get into his Dodge Charger and drive off. Per the GBI, how did he get out of handcuffs? No clue. Somebody knows. Douglas County Sheriff's deputies then engaged in a speed chase, headed down I-20 East before Palmer crashed into a tractor trailer. The route with the details. You know how dangerous these chases are to the public. Palmer then took off on foot to a nearby BP gas station. And that's where everything went left. BBI says he attempted to carjack 2 adults for their BMW, and a deputy fired at the vehicle. Instead of Palmer being struck, the 5-year-old girl sitting in the back of the car was hit with the deputy's bullet. Mother also posted a video of the bullet on Instagram, captioned that video, "I can't stop crying." She also posted videos showing the junior deputy badge officers gave her daughter. I don't need a badge. I need my daughter not shot. I added that. Mother says her daughter called her a crybaby because she was crying so much. She is a brave little girl. Shouldn't have to be, though. Palmer was taken into custody and slammed with a slew of charges from several agencies, including criminal attempt to commit murder, kidnapping, battery. GBI will be conducting an independent investigation into the situation. Meantime, the girl's family demands the deputy in question be fired immediately. I don't know what action movie this deputy thought he was in, but that kind of callous disregard for basic safety gets innocent people killed in the real world, said civil rights attorney Ben Crump. Recklessness, negligence, not strong enough to describe what he did. He is a clear danger, must be held accountable. So that's the famed noted civil rights attorney, Senator Ben Crump. What say you? Because I can remember during my days as an Atlanta anchor, I remember grandmother was taking her grandkids to church. They're walking. And a chase through 2 jurisdictions. We never did get answers here. I don't know why I'm not saying this wasn't a dangerous man out to do more, but he left in his Dodge Charger. You're not going to get so far. We know who you are. To just keep going with this, and a little girl is shot. Our kids have faced enough gun violence. You may have a different take, but I can't see how this needed to happen in this way.
I'm glad, number one, they got Palmer, the guy that started all this, and all of those charges, I hope, sticks. This will be sorted out in a court of law. When it comes to the sheriff's deputies, I would want to know what are the protocols of that county sheriff's department in terms of chase and also shootings. So let the investigation take place. To the mother and her 5-year-old daughter, let me back this thing up. Thank the Lord that baby is still alive. And what humor. And like you said, Sharon, the courage to tell mama, crying. You the cry baby. I mean, that baby, her spirit, I know nothing but great things for her life. Nothing but great things for her life. So I am concerned. I want to know did the deputy follow the procedures and the protocols of the department? That's number one. Number two, if he did, they need some more different procedures and protocols. If he didn't, then he's going to have to answer for that. 3, in the mind of this sheriff's deputy was that guy, as you were kind of alluding to, very dangerous, and they're trying to stop this guy from getting on the streets and maybe killing some folks with the vehicle. So that's what has to be weighed here. There also has to be, this is an and here, there has to be justice for that little baby and also for her family, because innocent people. So for people who think, oh, just armed people, good people with guns can stop bad people with guns, not all the time. Sometimes good people with guns can shoot other good people. And that was one example of that. Did that deputy intend for that baby to get shot? Absolutely not. Did that baby get shot? She absolutely did. And more people could have died. this rests squarely on Palmer, though, who started this chain reaction. So I hope that justice is served in that case. And then wherever the investigation leads for the sheriff's deputy, Sharon Reed, that's what it's gonna have to be. But the department itself, the county, they owe that family. I mean, even though it wasn't done with malicious intent, that family has to be made whole.
What Miss Lewis say? She's still shot.
Still shot.
Okay. But you're right, and you're so smart as usual to bring it back. We do need to know more. What are the procedures here for the department? And Sharon Reed has not been trained, okay, but is going to start training. You inspire me. You got your guns out today. I'd say, no pun intended. I'm going to start training, but I want to know about their training, Senator, on this one, because my motherly emotion wonders, had he not been chased through 2 counties, to me that provoked and prompted, a dangerous man. Don't get me wrong, he's carjacking all over the place. And it's Palmer, this is on you. But the little girl getting shot, I just wonder where the protocols, where that line is, because the goal is not to apprehend a suspect and shoot a little girl. The goal is to protect the public, and that includes her. But I think you're right. We'll wait to learn more. I don't know what to make of this next one because it involves a tarantula. Look at your life. Not despite it, but they bring us these stories. I'm not the one who says, let's make it sensational. This is what's out there, folks, okay? What is a GOP candidate in Minnesota doing? Accused of throwing a tarantula at a tenant. I mean, what in the red state hell?
You can take a gun, shoot somebody in the face. It's not hard. Sometimes it might even be fun if they're a godless commie.
Now, what they're trying to do is sneak the COVID vaccine in your salads.
I hate math. Somebody say amen.
There's mugshot with a very the look on there was this series where I think Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano were in it about 2 witches. They played witches. They fought evil. And is that what it was? Charm? Yes, Senator. And there was evil. And sometimes people look, well, this is the face she made. I'm just telling you, it reminds me of that series where there's good witches and bad witches. Her, the Daily Beast. And KARE 11, self-described unhinged. 30-year-old Marissa Christina Simonetti, a Minnesota woman running for local office, arrested after reportedly chucking a tarantula at another tenant in the house he lives in. You take care of what's going on in your house. You can't afford to run for anything. Okay. Republican candidate running for a seat on the Hennepin County Board, arrested outside Minneapolis last Friday, June 21, on charges of 5th-degree misdemeanor assault with fear of bodily harm or death after the victim had called Adena police to report Simonetti trespassing into her section of the house. Simonetti is free on her own recognizance. Now, after being released on $2,000 bond on Monday, you throw a tarantula and all they do is tell you you're free to go, just sign this paper. Something about $2,000. There's so much more we have to understand here. Why would you have the tarantula? And what did you use to launch it? You didn't pick it up, did you? That's dangerous. Did you launch it with one of those things that kids use, like the water thing, the balloon? We need to know more. Per KARE 11's Lou Ragusi, alleged victim, Twin Cities attorney Jackie Vasquez, provided this photo of the live tarantula. She says Marissa Simonetti threw at her. An officer put it in this box, she said. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Lady, what on earth is wrong with you? Besides the live tarantula, there's more. Simonetti allegedly threw among various other junk in what Vasquez describes as a scary encounter. Vasquez also says an older man helped Simonetti toss things at her. The older man, being 69-year-old Michael Charles Held of St. Louis Park, who was also charged with assault 5, cited and released by police. What the kind of message they make here? And you're just going to call over your senior friend and say, can you help me? I already got her with the tarantula, but I'm looking to do more. Is that what conversation you had? And then foolishly, he comes over to help. Simonetti was held over the weekend, released Monday after a court appearance on a charge involving fear of bodily harm, which doesn't require battery. She denied the charges, telling KARE 11's Lou Ragusi that her accuser, Vasquez, is a squatter who refused to leave after renting a room through Airbnb. Whose tarantula is it, ma'am? That's what I need you to answer. But we're not going to do, the interview's not going to continue until I understand what happened with the tarantula. I don't hear anything about Airbnb or squatting. Go to landlord court for that. We're going to stick with the tarantula is what I would have done if I was conducting this interview. You don't answer that, it's over. Property records indicate Simonetti is not the owner of the home, raising questions about whether she was authorized to rent out a portion of it. In addition, short-term rentals are not allowed in Adena. Simonetti said that Vasquez did completely move out of the property over the weekend, wouldn't you? She added that she will continue her request for a seat on the Hennepin County Board. Simonetti said in an interview with KARE 11 News, fifth-degree assault means someone only needs to feel fear or feel afraid of bodily harm. I never hit anyone. I never touched anybody. And the reason I was held longer is because she was in my house, so it had to potentially be considered a domestic. Ain't none of that true. I did not even take the LSATs. I don't have a law degree, and I can tell you everything she said is not true. It's not what happened, okay? But we're in the age of make it up, disinformation. When asked whether Simonetti did something to make Vasquez fear bodily harm, Simonetti responded, I was taking the door off. The landlord, I'm renting here, told me to take the door off. So I was taking the door handle off. Okay. KARE 11 notes that Simonetti has faced several allegations in criminal and civil court. She faced more than $80,000 in credit card fraud charges, which were dropped after a civil settlement with her ex-fiance. Simonetti and another ex-boyfriend, the father of her child, have mutual harassment restraining orders, allegations of assault and stalking too. He also accuses her of creating a fake, what is this, a Grindr account in his name, causing men to show up at his house. Simonetti declined to comment on this situation. Reached by phone regarding Simonetti's characterization of squatting, Vasquez told Ragusi that Simonetti doesn't understand the legal definition of squatting. I have to tell you, ain't a bit of legal truth to this. And that short-term rentals are not allowed in Adena, meaning the contract is invalid. Vasquez would not confirm or deny if she continued paying for the room after the end date of the agreement. To local Fox affiliate KMST, she explained she borrowed the tarantula stunt from Home Alone. This woman, okay, we have to pause. We're going to keep going, but now it's Macaulay Culkin's fault. And the movie. This, okay, and I don't generally do that because of the connotations, but you borrowed a tarantula. And who the hell did you borrow it from? Which one of your friends has a tarantula? Who would say, well, here, you can use my tarantula. Certifiable. Better look at your life. I'm good at creatively solving problems. Now this is on her resume. At the end of the day, I didn't physically harm anybody, Simonetti insisted. I'm a little unconventional in my ways. Sometimes. I mean, I'm a silly goose. Pictured as a text exchange between Simonetti and KARE 11's Lou Ragusi, who texted her about the claim of the tarantula. Her response includes a photo from Home Alone showing one of the burglars with a tarantula on his face. So she's put it in writing too. I can't anymore with this woman. Entitled Trouble. Senator, she's trouble. There's a string of incidents, okay? The fraud, the credit card, the tens of thousands of dollars. Now you accuse of throwing a tarantula. What's a Grindr account? She sent on her ex-boyfriend The men showing up. Hi, time to party. This woman has some real issues, and you are considering representing constituents? This ain't the best and the brightest. She's troubled, Senator. Creative. She said, I'm creative problem solver? Are you kidding me?
Oh, Sherry, your wit. I mean, you laid this out beautifully. The only thing I have to add to that magnificent commentary is what on God's green earth did the tarantula do to deserve to be mixed up in all this drama? The tarantula
animal abuse
in its life at all. It's so unfair to the tarantula.
I think it's abuse, actually, and the animal rights activists. You know, I got pets running all over my place. I've told you before. It's like Dr. Doolittle, and here's my daughter. That's what happens when you have an only child sometimes. I'm not per se, I love animals so much. And no, I don't. I want it in my bed. Okay, I'm not that way. But I don't want animals hurt or used as weapons. I think the tarantula should be removed from the owner pending further investigation. She could be lying. Did you loan this deadly spider out? And the act of throwing the spider to me is abuse as well. So I think you raise a good point. And that's just like you to consider all parties in this, including the animal who didn't ask for this, to be involved in she's not the landlord, a tenant dispute.
I mean, the tarantulas already have enough trouble as it is.
You're right.
Drama in their lives.
They're feared, they're hairy. I mean, she's out of her mind. And that's my opinion. Okay. And that's what I'm going to go with. A woman goes viral for explaining her go-to move. Again, these are the stories that are out there. And I give you that disclaimer again. She wanted to explain, and she did her go-to move in the bedroom.
You can take a gun, shoot somebody in the face. It's not hard. Sometimes it might even be fun if they're a godless commie.
Now, what they're trying to do is sneak the COVID vaccine in your salads.
I hate math. Somebody say amen.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk to and spit on that thing. You get me?
I don't get you. I think you gotta demonstrate.
Hawk to and spit on it. Spit on it.
The incident went by. At this point, and I feel like the senator has to take some of this stuff off my hands. I'm unable to get through some of it. I don't understand why you're doing this. Parents must be so proud. And no, I don't need you to demonstrate it anymore. We've seen enough. And I can't unsee that. And I don't know how that's some kind of go-to move. Maybe I'm boring. Nobody's ever said to me, you need I wish you would. This is going massively viral. It's taken other portions of the internet by storm. People have made paintings and playing cards out of this viral moment. Who are these people? And maybe I am boring. It's very boring up in here because I've never even heard tell of this. And you can educate me if I'm the only one. But this sounds pathetically, it's over the top. And I want people to do what you want to do. Wherever you want. I don't want to be involved in it. But people have even decorated their trucks and gotten tattoos. Look at the pillow. Is this trademarked? This now appears to be trademarked. Celebrities like WWE Women's World Champion Liv Morgan even did a tribute to the meme. Treat yourself to this.
Liv, how you feeling? Oh, I feel so good. I just got to give this thing that good old spin on this thing, and we're good to go.
I'm not trying to be a prude, Senator. I enjoy a good time. And maybe I did have one of my friends call me today and say, you need someone in your life who roots for you and cherishes you. I said, well, maybe that person's here for me. But she said, you have to leave the house first. I've been enjoying myself for years. I rarely go out. The groceries come to me. I do take my daughter to school, but I don't go out. So it could very well be me, and I've overreacted to this, Senator. I'm embarrassed to even ask you because I don't mean any disrespect by this question, but have I overreacted to this? Do you know something I don't?
I gotta focus on your friend. Is that the secret? I need to get out of the house more too.
You gotta leave the house, and I'm not. In order to meet someone, Senator, this is what she said.
You have to leave the house.
I'm enjoying it. I put pajamas on underneath my presentation. It's on right now. I had a nightgown under this. Did you know that? And maybe that's too much information, but to me, that's kind of falls in line. This, and now it's going viral. Money's being made, taxes are being paid on it. Am I wrong? Am I dating? Am I aging myself?
No, you're not. First of all, when I come to the ATL, we will go out because your friend's advice to you is probably advice to me. That's number one. Number two is up to is nasty as hell. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, it's the worst advice. First of all, everybody should not be giving their opinion on TV. That's just bottom line, or being interviewed like that. It is nasty as hell. And people are just simple-minded, Sharon, just grappling for anything for something like this to go viral. I mean, it made me nauseous. That's just maybe
I don't want him to spit. And I'm gonna tell you something else.
Yeah, this is not the go-to position. It's not the go-to move.
But this, Senator, is the world we're living in, where you, first of all, don't ask me a foolish question like that. Number two, I don't have to answer it. Number three, if I did, I probably would tell my go-to move. Turn out light and turn on a podcast to fall asleep to is my go-to move in the bedroom. Okay. And that's all you're getting from me. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm okay. I never have one complaint. You understand? But I'm not going to. I don't need her to tell me this, Senator. I don't need her to tell me this.
Nasty.
I'm so proud with it.
Yeah. And this is only going to make her do more of it. But it's nasty as hell, people. I'm sorry.
It's nasty as hell. It's nasty. Senator, I want you to tell us about tonight, what you're working on, where we can see you, all of it, because I just need more of you.
God, I adore you, love you too. Always glad when we are together standing in for the one and only Dr. Rashad Ritchie. But tonight I will be at a watch party at Bus Boys and Poets right here in DC, 450 Cage Street. So come on out and check us out. We're going to watch this debate tonight, and then I'll be commentating on it a little later on News Nation. People can find me on Twitter at Nina Turner, on the gram, Nina Turner, Ohio. And please, please, please check out We Are Somebody, wearesomebody.org, a capacity building organization for working class people from all walks of life and all political ideologies. The only thing we need to come together is that we are working class people. We want to create a better future for each and every one of us. Sharon, I adore you.
Yeah, I adore you more. And she gave you her location. Please don't cut up. And we're there. She's there for business. She's friendly. She's of course beautiful, but please don't. You understand this is about the debate tonight. I want to give that disclaimer. She's not, but do not proposition all this stuff. She invited you. Be on your best behavior.
Definitely don't do either. Don't do that.
Oh, we're not going to tolerate that. You have security. Escort them right out of there. This is indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside the wonderful Senator Nina Turner. I love her. We all love her. Much more indisputable in the days to come. We hope you'll join us again.